Purdue held their annual intrasquad scrimmage this weekend, and an overwhelmingly good day for Fan Fest. Fans got to come in, get an early look at this team, autograph sessions galore, and seems like everybody loved what they saw in Mackey Arena. There's plenty of positive and just really fun, good, happy takeaways from all of your favorite Purdue reporters. You could go, let's just plug a few. The Boilers in the Stands guys were in the building for this one. Good to see them back in action, and they've done a lot of content reporting on what they saw. Brian Newbert's certainly there as well. Casey Bartley was also there. So I've consumed all of the takeaways those guys have put together, try to get the full picture of what it looked like. But you guys should all go check out all of those reports and reactions as well. For today, we will react to what we have heard and seen because we did get some video clips sent to us, and Purdue also put out like 2 minutes of highlights from these scrimmages. The way this was structured was three separate scrimmage sessions where they rotated teams. Rather than go through the specific teams every single time, we'll kind of just speak to some player-specific takeaways. I will point out as far as teams go, Braden Smith and Trey Kaufman-Renn were never on the same team. Omar Meyer and Braden Smith were never on the same team. You had Omar and TKR paired together. You had Braden on the opposite team every time. Other guys cycled in and out. Both centers got to play with both groups. All of the shooting guards got to split up and play with both groups. I do think there's a takeaway from that. For me, that means, number one, they were trying to make these as competitive as possible. Let's not put our two All-Americans on the same team. We also got no look at what we think the starting lineup will be. But number two, to me, that means they're not really serious about playing Omer and Braden together right now.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you would have given that one look in one of these sessions. And instead, it was really PG1 against PG2 the entire time, paired with Trey Kaufman-Renn. So, anyways, with that said, lots of good from a lot of different guys. Jakari Harris, Brian Newbert's favorite, was the leading scorer from the entire day of scrimmages, 4 for 8 from 3. He had 20 points across the 3 sessions. CJ Cox was the second leading scorer. So if you're worried about the shooting guard spot, those guys outscored Trey Kaufman-Renn and Braden Smith in 3 scrimmage sessions, and were both really efficient from the field in the process. Braden himself, 14 points, 10 assists to 4 turnovers. Trey Kaufman-Renn, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Looks very much like the TKR we know and love. Oscar Clough had a double-double if you count this up and add it together, 14 points, 11 rebounds. Daniel Jacobson, 10 points, 4 rebounds, and a block. Basically, everybody did something. Jack Benter hit back-to-back threes at one point to keep his team in a game. Man, I don't know. You could go up and down the list of guys and come up with impressive takeaways here. So what is your reaction to everything that you have heard and seen from Purdue's scrimmage?
God damn. Excuse my language. This, I feel like we always have a discussion after these things, like which guy is like, the starter, which guy's over this guy's over this guy played better than this guy. And those conversations are always warranted. But I came away from this scrimmage video with somewhat of a different takeaway. And I think I said it before, but I want to be a little bit more in depth with it when I say it. This team has so much talent, like actually so much talent. Like, you know how we had the discussion about like, oh, your 8th guy on the team is this person, or your 9th guy is this person. Both CJ and Jakari are good. Omer is good. I mean, even down all the way to the bench. Like, I would love to have Riley Burgess on my team, right? Like, this team just has so many options, and whether it's Clough or Jacobson, or whether it's Jakari or Cox, and oh, by the way, too, oh, you have Omar Meyer who could possibly work into there. All together, all that encompassed with great coaching and the 3 big guys that you have, which, by the way, I love all the stats. I love that CJ and Jakari led in scoring. That's great to see. I would love to see that if I'm a Purdue fan. Braden put on a show in this game.
That
Like,
behind
come
the
on,
back
dog.
pass was
Dog,
ridiculous.
some of them passes were OD. That behind the back one, the Clough was nasty. Omar Meyer also had like a little like wrap around lefty like bounce pass kind of to somebody. like in the lane. Shit, even Fletch came off a screen, split it, and dished it to TKR for a dunk.
Fletch had 5 assists to 0 turnovers.
Yeah, like also, I don't know if you saw it in the scrimmage highlights too. I haven't seen Fletch do this a lot, but like he caught CJ Cox trying to cheat over a screen, hit like a little left to right, refused the screen, just pulled up, and I was like, "Oh, was that end of the shot clock?" I'm like, "Oh," I looked up, there was 17 seconds left on the shot clock.
Yeah.
Fletch just said, "That's disrespectful. Don't do that," and then pulled it in the shot. Like this team is every bit of the preseason number one. Not to just go ahead and continue with the quote unquote what they call it Purdue glazing, but like this team has everything in front of them. They're so talented. And I'll get to some other things I say, but I feel like we can't speak on this video without actually pointing out how much talent I think was in this video and how many moments they had from everybody where you're just like, that's crazy. I mean, even like prayers up for Jack Benter and Liam Murphy. Having to check TKR at the four every day is not fair. It's not what they probably signed up for, but they have to do. TKR had like a little spin move in this one when Liam was guarding him, and he kind of semi punched on Daniel Jacobson. Like Daniel Jacobson got a piece of it, but it ended up kind of squeaking in there. This team just has hella talent. That's really what it comes down to.
The Force did a good job defensively too, because TKR had 14 points on 12 shots. He
Yeah.
he was probably the one guy that didn't like play an A-plus performance across these scrimmages. So yeah, I have the same takeaway. I said this in the Discord as we were talking through everything, and a couple of our Discord members were in attendance and shared all of their long form thoughts, which some of them will echo thoughts that I have based on what I've seen. But just as a starting point, we haven't talked about Purdue enough in contention for being the quote unquote deepest team in the country. I feel like that type of praise normally ends up going to Kentucky. I think it's gone a little in Michigan's direction with the type of guys they're going to bring off the bench. I like the largest takeaway from me. They played basically 12 guys in this scrimmage, right? They had teams of 6 going against each other, rotating the groups. The 11th and 12th guys in this game belong on the court with the 4th, 5th, 6th guys in this game. The separation between Purdue's 5th guy and their 12th guy is just not all that much. And that's not to say the 5th guy isn't good. Last year, I think that you could have said the same thing. Purdue's 5th guy and their 12th guy, not very different because they were all bad. This
Mhm.
year, like guys have just gotten better from a starting point. Cox, Harris, Benter, Burgess all look like different dudes than they did the last time I laid eyes on them on a basketball court. Then you add vets like obviously Clough and Liam Murphy, who Murphy was probably the quietest performer across all these scrimmages. And he's a guy that would play, I think, in any rotation in the country right now. Like he is an established product, a catch and shoot guy. So I'm just impressed. I'm blown away by how loaded they are down to the bottom of the bench. And the rotation's going to sort itself out. I think Payne is just stalling as late as he can. I think he wants to preserve the beautiful thing that right now it feels like this team has 12 guys who are going to play for as long as he possibly can until he has to force some tough decisions. But it's very real. Those decisions are going to be tough because no elite basketball team plays 12 guys. 12 guys on this roster are good enough to play, and they won't. There will be 1 to 2 that do not, and I'll be curious to see how they solve for that. But everybody impressed in this game. Let's start at shooting guard because I think that's the most impressive thing. And we're well documented at this point of being skeptical of the Jakari Harris breakout. He led all scorers in this scrimmage. He was awesome, largely because he's making shots again. 4 for 8 from 3. He did not attempt really any other shots. He had, I think, 1 layup in this game. He was 5 for 9 overall, 4 for 8 from 3. CJ Cox actually did a little more than just his 3-point shooting. He was the second leading scorer with 15, 3 for 6 from 3. He was 3 for 4 from 2-point range. So 3 and D guy seems like Jakari right now. CJ still seems a little more like the score first guy. But bottom line is this: both those guys look good enough to start. Both those guys look significantly improved. I really have no concerns that they're going to have a weakness at the 2 spot at this point anymore. How impressed were you that it was those two that led this team in scoring in these scrimmages?
I was very impressed that both of them were able to play to the level that they were. And I think it just, Purdue likes to talk about it. You speak to the player development and the way they're able to go about things. This is, this is what's expected of guys like this. And um, for Purdue as a team, all this means too is that like, look, it's a long season, right? Not to like go into like coach speak type thing here, but it's a very, very long season. You have two guys that were part of last year's team, contributed in bigger or lesser roles. I think CJ a little bit more than Jakari. But the fact of the matter is, like, let's say one of these guys is struggling. All right, that's great. One guy's struggling, and I can put in CJ, or CJ is struggling, I can put in Jakari. Oh, both those guys are struggling. Well, maybe it's time to run a little bit of Omer at the three, or maybe I want to get cute and put Jack Benter at the three. I just think that having those options and having that flexibility for Purdue is something they have not had, especially didn't have last year. Now they have the flexibility because like last year, you look at it, both we joked about it, like Heidi and Colvin could never put it together at the same time. It was always one or the other, right? Or honestly, most of the time it was neither of them doing anything. And people expected them to take that leap during the summer and be better. It seems that CJ and Jakari have done that, have really done what those guys haven't, or the guys didn't do last year that were kind of expected to make that leap. So I just think it gives Purdue flexibility and options.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think they're both better than I thought they would be right now. At least they played that way in the scrimmage. Now, also would point out they're both going to look really good when they both shoot 50% from three.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen forever,
Hmm.
but at minimum, Jakari's jumper looks fixed. Like if there were concerns that he couldn't shoot in the first half of last season, he looks like a sniper at this point.
Yeah.
CJ to me is what he is. Like the surprise, if anything, is Jakari's improvement.
Hmm.
CJ is what he is. He's a rotation level Big Ten guy, either a sixth man or a starter. Payne's going to have to choose between the two at this point. But if we're trying to sort out the 2 guard spot, one thing I would say should be definitive based on this scrimmage. It's one of those two.
Hmm.
With respect to the Antoine West propaganda and with respect to who Omar Meyer is, it's CJ or Jakari. I don't really want to hear about any of the other two for that spot right now.
Yeah. It's CJ Ejikari. And
And I don't think you can go wrong with picking between those two.
that's kind of where I'm at too. I feel like you're at a good spot. I don't think you can go wrong.
Yeah, just pick whichever one you want. Pick the other one in sixth man role. That's your top six.
Right.
And
Consider it
then,
changed for me too, because I didn't feel the same. I didn't feel that way 2 weeks ago.
so if we're saying that, that inherently means something for Omer Meyer. And I'm going to go down a path I don't know that you're going to expect me to go down with this. So be careful. It's a conversation we did flesh out in the Discord yesterday. And I think Purdue fans can be nuanced enough to go down this path with me.
I'm very intrigued to go down because I don't know if I wasn't really in the Discord, so I have a
Yeah.
way I want to go about it, and I wonder if we're aligned.
So Omer, he, I thought was awesome offensively in this. From
Mhm.
what I saw, the clips, you mentioned a couple of the passing clips popped like crazy. He also hit a three. He was only 2 for 6 from the floor, but he was 1 for 3, made 2 free throws. Um, he had 9 assists to 3 turnovers. I want to step back and reframe what Omer was asked to do in these games, right? They played 3 scrimmages. Omer was the starting point guard against Braden Smith for 3 scrimmage sessions. Omer Meyer spit out 9 assists to 3 turnovers against Braden Smith in his first real game like setting on a day where Braden Smith went 10 assists to 4 turnovers. Those guys basically had the same passing outputs. Omer Meyer in his first 10 minutes in a Purdue uniform, toe to toe with the best passer in NCAA history. Now, I'm not here to say Omer is the playmaker Braden is. He's not. But the point is this. He basically matched Braden from a playmaking perspective in these games. Now, the fact that he was doing it with TKR helped him versus Braden was doing it to whoever was on his team that time. But like, you get the point. Omar's not supposed to be that advanced as a passer right now, and he is. I am frustrated because it's pretty clear to me if they didn't put Omer with Braden at all in any of these sessions, they're not even open to the idea of playing them together right now. Now, maybe they will be by March, but I'll be completely honest with you. My assessment of this entire situation right now, Cart, I don't think it's even good for Purdue to try to play them together based on what I saw in this game, right? CJ and Jakari are good.
Mm-hmm.
If CJ and Jakari are good, I don't think you want another Braden next to Braden, except this Braden has defensive issues. Because that is the thing. Omer looked really bad defensively in this to me.
Oh, well, really bad. I feel like terrible.
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 Terrible. So, like, you kind of get it, right? The phrase that's been said to me in the weeks leading up to this when I ask about Omer and his role has been, Omer won't be the starter for a couple reasons. Let me try and define the reasons. Defense is awful. He's too redundant to Braden. And you probably are more concerned with getting him to be Braden next year than you are trying to force him on the floor at the expense of two shooting guards you care about this year. So fit-wise, it now makes sense to me after what I've seen. They should not be considering playing Omer next to Braden at the expense of CJ or Jakari. But that doesn't mean that Omer is way behind CJ and Jakari. And I'm a little frustrated coming out of this. Like, I understand why. I think everyone in attendance is viewing this through the lens I just talked about of, as a Purdue fan, what do we need? What is best for Braden, Fletcher, and TKR? The answer is not another Braden, right? It's just not. That doesn't mean that Omer is like worse than the other shooting guards. It doesn't mean that because Antoine West is higher on the shooting guard pecking order right now, that Braden's or that Omar Meyer isn't better than Antoine West. Mm-hmm. Like, I want people to realize going toe-to-toe with Braden Smith in your first minutes in Mackey Arena and matching him as a playmaker is insane. Dion, you okay? You look a little sweaty.
So every August, September, my air conditioning breaks and there's just nothing I can do about it.
Dude, that's tough. Out in California too? Like, I mean, what is it, like 80 degrees still there today?
Today's gonna be like 85, 90, but like peak summer, it gets like 110. My AC just doesn't ever hold up.
I mean, it sounds like it's a bummer that you can't take advantage of Duncan Mechanical Solutions, because Duncan Mechanical Solutions is an HVAC company based in Angola, servicing the tri-state area, bringing commercial quality to the residential world with excellent customer service. You heard us talk about Duncan Mechanical last summer. If you need heating or air conditioning, kitchen or bath remodeling, or all of the above, Duncan Mechanical is the place to go in the Midwest. Go to DuncanMechanicalSolutions.com to take advantage and make sure you don't wind up like Dion. That's nonsensical. This kid might be like literally on the Braden Smith level of passing right now. And the reality is this team isn't even going to use it. Which leads me to the conclusion that people probably won't like to say it out loud. If this is heading where I think it is, Omer chose the worst possible situation for himself this year. And I understand he kind of said that when he committed, right? He said, why would I go there? They have the best point guard in the country. And then he ended up, Braden called me. They made it clear they want me. It's a 2-year plan. So all that said, in the long run, if Omer is playing the big picture game, he's going to love it. Who cares? He's going to possibly win a national championship and then be Braden Smith next year. But just strictly for like career advancement, what do NBA scouts think? What, like, are you getting on ball reps and opportunities? He chose the only place in the country this year that could watch him do what he did in this scrimmage, match Braden Smith, and then be like, yeah, there's not a role for you at all. Because that, to me, that's where this is headed right now. Braden's going to play his 35 minutes a game still. Omer is not even in consideration to play next to him. there are 5 minutes available right now for Omar Meyer, which is crazy because what I saw in this game is a guy that I think would start at point guard almost anywhere else in the country. And all that to say, I'm not saying he should have made a different decision. This is a luxury for Purdue. It's incredible. He's going to love it. But I need Purdue fans and people that watch this to view Omer through a lens that's different of like, what do we need at shooting guard? And just appreciate how good he was in this game offensively. He was ridiculous. And everyone is like, well, he couldn't guard, so he's not better than CJ. And like, come on, folks. 9 assisted 3 turnovers in this setting against Braden Smith is absurd. Some of those passes he made were absurd. This kid's going to be crazy, and he's also not going to play because your team's too good.
Yeah, it's you don't have to downplay what Omer's doing or what he did because CJ and Jakari are playing. The crazy part about this is that, and it's not something that Purdue should do or will do, but it's always like a Omer between Jakari, Omer, Jakari, or CJ. When if it wasn't for Fletcher Lawyer, Omer probably starts with Braden, and then you put CJ or Jakari next to those two, and then you feel really good about it. So that's the pathway I think happens. And look, I'm not over here talking about stardom over Fletch. I'm not over here saying anything like that. Like that's ridiculous, ludicrous. I won't even go that far. But I need to find the way to maximize Omar Meyer being on the floor. And the way to do that would be let him be the backup 1, 2 with Braden, whatever you want to do with those minutes. But that's not enough. So I'm letting him eat into Fletch's minutes.
I think it might be enough. And I say this as one of the biggest Omer guys, Cart. I don't think taking Fletcher Lawyer off the floor to force Omer and Braden together is even good for this team. I just don't.
You don't think it's good even if they have a Jakari or a CJ because that's the thing. It's the defense, right? So it's like Fletch isn't necessarily like the best defender in the world. He's definitely better than Omer. I'll say that.
You would have to do that, but to me, like, okay, so you're choosing between 2 buckets. Bucket 1, what's better? Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, and Jakari? Or Omar Meyer, Braden Smith, and Jakari? It's bucket 1.
Yeah, it is bucket 1.
So like you're not going to make that pivot just to give like which is why it goes back to what I'm saying. Situationally, he chose the only situation in America that would be like, you're not good enough. Because let's be clear right now, based on what I'm seeing, he's not good enough, which is crazy. That's the point I'm trying to make. Like, he's insane. Offensively, this kid is absurd. And he's not going to play because dead ass, nothing he brings is good enough between Braden Smith and TKR and Fletcher to beat out the other stuff that complements those guys better. And you hit on it. You can't play Omer, Braden, and Fletcher together because defensively it's a disaster. So if there's one thing Omer has to fix in order for the door to open for that, it's defense. I don't think a defensive fix is coming this year from him. But we'll see. But, this is kind of me saying I don't think anyone's in the wrong with this. It's a crazy situation. It's a crazy situation that a player that good offensively looks destined for like 5 minutes a game. But to me, it's super telling that they didn't even try him and Braden together in this scrimmage. And I think that's where this is headed. The one minor fix I do have is this. Let's kill the Antoine West nonsense. He looked good, and I don't mean to minimize what he brings to this team. I still am a big Antoine West guy going forward. He was 1 for 8 from 3 in this game. All of his shot attempts were from 3. He did not attempt a shot inside the arc, even though, there was smoke that he was the rim penetration guy. Didn't see that in the scrimmages at all. If the story is supposed to be that Antoine West is the best defender here, I would just point out that CJ and Jakari looked awesome defensively. I don't think you're going to play Antoine West for defense when CJ and Jakari both got you 4 steals in these scrimmages.
Right.
So to me, if you want even just a minor opening crack for Omer a little bit, just redshirt Antoine West. Antoine West does not need minutes at the expense of Jakari or CJ. Antoine West is good enough in the long run that if he's bought into a redshirt, it's only going to help you. And this year, it probably is the only way to get Omer like 4 extra minutes is Antoine West not being there. So that's my pitch. I think that's what Paint should do. I don't know if he will, but to me, that's what I would do.
I think it's unfair that like last year when Purdue was blowing teams out, like they could at least take like a little bit of a deep breath as like Will Berg and Brian Waddell checked in. And now it's like, yeah, your last 5 minutes, go ahead and deal with like
Yeah, crazy,
Omer and Liam Murphy.
crazy. Um, 5 spot. Daniel Jacobson, Oscar Clough, both I thought did what they do to a high level in this game. What did you see from those two?
Yeah, I think you saw the notion or the thing that was brought up. I can't believe who brought it up. It might have been Paint. This team is too deep. And like every like the what was it like the backup five could make the tournament on this team. They could.
Mm-hmm.
They could because either your backup five is Oscar Clough or your backup five is Daniel Jacobson.
Honestly,
That's
these
that's sickening.
scrimmages
And you know what? Matt Painter has to answer for this. How did he do this?
these scrimmages felt like Sweet 16 games. Like just ludicrously good players everywhere. But yeah, I think Clough was the story. Both were good. But Clough is just such a good complementary guy to Braden already. Like
Yeah.
his mobility, his hands on the catch. He's such a like doesn't need the ball guy to make his impact felt. The
Mhm.
rebounding improvement, obviously, he dominated the boards in this game exactly the way you would hope. He's just no nonsense, ready, perfect center for these guys. And um Jacobson, I thought, is still more in good prospect mode to me. His offensive stuff was here. He had some lob finishes. Fletcher Lawyer threw him a lob that was like beautiful at one point in this. He does give you the verticality you don't get from Clough. But to me, Jacobson's probably the perfect backup center right now. And I think we should all run with that. I don't think there's much of a competition between Clough and Jacobson.
Yeah, I just think that Clough is with the rebounding, the size, the complementary, the him looking better. I think mobility wise, like you stated, I think it makes it pretty solid choice right now, easy choice. But at the same time, they really got themselves a great backup five in this case.
Yeah. Um, Braden and TKR, we kind of glossed over them because we're like those guys were what they are. The Braden's wow moments were stupid. I mean, he's gonna go viral. It seems like every game for like some creative behind the back or between the legs pass at this point. I don't even know how he sees those. I don't know how it's possible, but he got better as a passer this offseason. And I like I don't know. I know it's like, oh, he's the best passer since Bobby Hurley. He's the best passer ever. He's better than Bobby Hurley at passing a basketball. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
respectfully, Bobby Hurley doesn't have that.
TKR, is there anything for you on TKR in this game? I would frame it as a quiet TKR day.
It was TKR doing what TKR does. Like he's going to get his one way or the other. He's gonna get his.
I have a couple minor TKR takes. I'm surprised you didn't get to one already. I thought it was a little bit visible in this, as good as Omar Meyer was. TKR missed Braden. And I think part of what TKR is so prolific with is just Braden. And
Mhm.
that's not to minimize what TKR brings, but I thought rhythmically in this game, it was all a step slow for TKR compared to what we're used to seeing. Like just the ball arriving half a second later than it normally would. And he just simply was not as good as we've seen him. And I
Mhm.
think that was largely I'm not playing with Braden right now.
Yeah, no, I think that they compliment like how we're out here coming on like man we loved how Clough looked. Part of that is you pair him with Braden.
Yeah.
Braden makes guys better. He makes guys look better, and I think that TKR is the beneficiary of that as well as having his own game. I will say this: my big overall negative of this scrimmage was actually like some defensive stuff.
I
I
want to get there in a minute.
like there if I'm watching this, I know I don't have a team that has like the passing point guard that maybe Braden is, obviously, but this team looked kind of lost defensively in a lot of the pick and roll stuff.
Yeah. You had a tweet that What was that tweet? You were having some fun with Rafael, it looked like.
Yeah. I thought that number 4 on Purdue could have taken a little bit more pride on the defensive end, and it could have helped them.
Think Rafael called you corny. Was that the right word?
Yeah. He didn't well, because I'm telling people that's a bad way to watch basketball.
Okay.
Because
Uh,
that's not TKR's fault. Nothing's ever TKR's fault.
he probably should have tagged the roller, right? I'm not misreading that. It did look like his tag.
Well, here's the thing: tag or no tag,
He didn't move.
TKR is a bad defender.
Yeah.
He's a bad defender. And everyone knows that he's a bad defender. So that is going to be something that I think people try to expose. Like you're trying to find a crack in the armor that is the greatness of the Boilermakers. I don't even know what protective gear Boilermakers wear, but like whatever hazmat suit they wear when they do their work, there's a little cut in it, a little slit somewhere in it. It is, I think, TKR's defensive abilities.
The hard part is this roster's full of quote unquote bad defenders. Like Fletcher, bad. Uh, TKR, bad. Liam Murphy, bad. Omer, terrible right now. Oscar Clough can rebound. He is not a good defender. He's
Well,
just
that's the thing for me. If you have a TKR Clough front court, that's not the rim protection you thought. Like it's an upgrade because you don't have a doctor at the 5, but it's not the upgrade you think.
there's one blocked shot in this entire 3 scrimmage setting.
A lot of layups in this.
I'm not positive the rim protection upgrade anyone thought was coming is coming, at least not if Jacobson's coming off the bench. So, anyways, I'm with you. I think the big picture thing for me, I don't really see the defensive improvement everyone thinks. It will be a marginal improvement just because of rebounding with Clough. The rebounding was certainly better, but it's almost just been like decided narratively, we're going to go from 50th defensively to 20th because we can rebound now. I don't think that's true. The visuals on this were still a team that's outside the top 30 defensively in the country.
Yeah, 100%.
But the offense was so good it might not matter anyway. One other thing on TKR, again, I thought it was a quiet performance, 14 points on 12 shot attempts. We've seen games where he's just dominant. He wasn't dominating these scrimmages to me. Do you have any worry at all that that's due to the fact that he was playing next to a true 5 for the first time in forever? Part of what I think TKR was working with offensively last year was just the fact that he was kind of the only guy anywhere near the rim. He had so much space to operate, especially when they went small. That's gone. If he's playing next to Clough, he's in a different spot than he's ever been, or at least since Edey when he was in a much smaller role. And
Yeah.
then
Well, to your point, like it is different for him, and I thought you saw that, and like he was a little bit off in his percentages, and also like I think he turned the ball over 5 times,
4 times.
4 times in this scrimmage. So it's yeah, I think it's an adjustment for him playing next to somebody that's actually actually I think someone that can kind of contribute, and is someone that's going to be in the lane.
Yeah.
Which is why we had the conversation that maybe Jacobson was a better fit next to TKR, even though Clough is probably a better fit for the team.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, like I said, TKR is TKR.
Yep. Okay.
Going to be
All right.
shot attempts. He's going to be a cone defensively, and he's going to be one of the best finishers and scorers in college basketball.
And he's Rafael's #1 pick in the entire country, according to a
Yeah.
tweet you just sent me right now. That's on
Yeah.
fly. So, all right, we'll talk about that at some point soon too. Last thing on my notes list that we haven't gotten to at all yet, and I promise we weren't trying to bury him. It's just how loaded this team is when you're trying to go from the top of the list to the bottom. Jack Benter was like everywhere. He was really good. He had the stretch where he hit back-to-back threes and kind of kept his team in a game. I think he definitively looked better than Liam Murphy, which is not something I was expecting at all. But not only did he make the shots that Liam missed, he also was just everywhere. I thought he rebounded better. He had passing stuff. He had some defense. He was just a more versatile player than the catch and shoot Liam Murphy was. So I think early on, advantage Benter for the backup 4 minutes, which is probably what you're rooting for if you're a Purdue fan. I also would note Casey Bartley, I think, did a big feature on this coming out of this that was like, It might be too early, but I'm calling it. Jack Benter won the backup 4 spot. He referred to him as I think a mismatch nightmare or a matchup nightmare, something like that. He looked great. What are your impressions of Benter right now?
Hmm. Matchup nightmare. I do think that he brings a little bit more versatility, I think, than Liam Murphy does. And whatever minutes are at the backup four, I think he has gotten them.
I feel like I'm watching like freshman Brooks Barnheiser when I watch Benter. And that might sound crazy, but it just won't surprise me if like 2 to 3 years from now, Benter's amazing.
I could see him at Northwestern.
I could see him at Purdue being amazing. All right. You're staying where you're at on Benter?
I
Okay.
think that Jack Benter is going to be an exceptional backup four.
Got it. Okay. All in all, did you learn anything from this scrimmage session that we did not know that changes your worldview of Purdue?
No, I just can't believe that schools got stuffed in a locker for Omar Meyer when they couldn't beat this pitch. But also good on Omer. Like he's buying into the 2 year plan, but also like could have been a 1 year plan. There's some teams across the country I think would have gave him the ball right now for 30 plus.
I think he'll be fine. Probably winning championships this year and then getting the Braden role next year. He's very mature kid that was bought in on that. But yeah, recruiter of the year, Braden Smith, because he sold this kid on coming to play 4 minutes a game behind him over playing 30 anywhere else in the country.
That's probably why he sold him too. It's like Payne probably went to Braden like, hey, can you like convince this guy to be your 5 minute game backup? I mean, sure, he's nice. Want to come play 5 minutes behind me?
Also, if Braden offered me 5 minutes, I'd go out of my way to make it happen too. Just saying.
Yeah.